Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to All About English. This is All About English Live, and I'm Dennis. I don't know who's here, so let me know if you're watching. Leave a note, leave a comment in the chat box, leave a post there. So far, it looks like nobody's watching yet, so I'm going to go ahead and try to free up some space. And yep, okay. See, here we go. And let's make sure I'm recording. Okay. All right. If you're just now showing up, leave a comment down below in the chat box. I'd love to see who's here. I see there's a couple people watching. Before we get started, I'm going to wait and see who's here. So give me a thumbs up, say hi, tell me where you're from, so I know who's here. That would be really great. All right. And if I don't hear anything in a couple of seconds, I'm just going to start and see where this goes. Okay. Uh, Hold on, not yet. Hold on. Let me see. I'm still not seeing any chats there. Let's see. Is the chat working? Is the chat working? I don't see anything. All right. Well, oh, hey, look, we got Mandy. Hi, Mandy. Long time no see. It's been a long time. So, well, that's one. And excuse me from South Korea is also here. Excuse me. Okay. Well, this is our first time going live on YouTube and Facebook. So let's see how how badly I can mess this up. I just left a short memo on Instagram and said, you know what? Nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect, but you can't get anywhere unless you start, right? Uh, if you don't start, if you keep trying to be perfect, you're never going to get anywhere. So let's go ahead. Speaking of getting started, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start with our presentation for today. What do you think? Give me a thumbs up or a Y if you think I should leave the video with my big head in the way, or should I switch up to the larger? Yeah, let's switch to the larger. We'll do the larger one. All right. Okay. So the topic for today, we're going to talk about breaking out of English learning ruts. Now, the tips that I'm going to give here, they will apply to just about any situation, whether you're trying to break out of a rut or whether you're trying to break out of an English rut or something like that. Oh, hi, Unyoung. Nice to see you. um, and we are, as I said, we're talking about breaking out of a rut. What is a rut? Somebody said that to me. What does that even mean? Well, that's an idiom. It's an idiom that means when you're stuck in a certain place and you just can't get out. A rut is what goes in the road. And hi, Chang. Hi, Cami. What goes in the road. And if you get stuck in a rut, it means your tires are stuck there. You can't get out. So it's kind of what happens. And so that's why we call that an idiom. We are going to talk really quick about that. One other thing that we call that is a plateau. When you're going really high up in your learning studies and then suddenly it just everything stops and you're not getting any progress. People get that when they're working out and exercising, going on diets. Anytime you're trying to learn something new, you're gonna run into plateaus and you're gonna fall into a rut. Like my friend Sarah, she's a 35-year-old office worker. Now, she was always interested in learning English and getting better with English, and she had a real passion for it. But she got to a point where she was feeling stuck in her studies because she never had time. She was always feeling like the textbooks that she was reading were boring, and she was studying for months and felt like she wasn't getting anywhere, even though she'd been, really putting in the work. And hi, why Yolanda? Um, and so what happened was she decided one day that enough was enough. She was sick and tired of trying the same old thing and not getting any different results, which is, by the way, the definition of insanity. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting to get different results, that is the definition of insanity. I don't remember who said that. That might have been Benjamin Franklin. But so she decided She was going to find a way to break out of her rut. And so she started by trying new approaches. She started watching TV in English, watching movies with the subtitles on and with subtitles off. She tried listening to podcasts, talking with native English speakers. Hey, if you're one of my clients, does that sound familiar? If it does, give me that thumbs up and say, yeah, I know what you're talking about, Dennis. That sounds exactly like what you say all the time. Because it is. It's one of the best ways to get out of your rut. So, and what happened for Sarah? She really saw new progress. She started to make gains where she thought she never could anymore. So let's talk a little bit more about how we can make you feel more confident in getting out of your ruts. All right, breaking through the plateaus. So how do I turn the slide? There we go. Here are the slides. I told you this is my first time doing this. So today in this session, we're going to look at what a learning plateau or learning rut or a plateau is, why it happens, and some strategies for how you can get through those learning plateaus, get through those ruts. So let's start with that. What is a rut? I already told you it's an idiom, but what it means is if you are in a state where you're no longer making progress, whether it's in your English studies, whether it's in your workouts, whether it's at your job, whatever it is, despite all the effort you put into it, if you're not making any more progress, you might be in a rut. You might have reached a plateau. And while it can feel frustrating, and believe me, it does, there are ways that you can get out of it. Okay. But don't let the lack of results stop you from trying to achieve your goals, whatever they are, whether they're learning English or anything else. Okay. Because this is a common experience, right? I'm seeing the thumbs up. All right, good deal. All right, so what are some of the common causes of getting into a learning rut or a plateau? Well, biggest one, lack of enthusiasm. You're just not enthusiastic anymore because everything's boring. It's monotonous. It's you're reading the same book over and over. Maybe you're watching the same, maybe you've tried watching TV or watching videos or reading articles. Well, if you do the same thing over and over and over, it's going to get old and it's going to lose its effectiveness. So mix it up a little bit, try something new. And that's one of the reasons why. So, yeah, lack of enthusiasm because you're bored. You've got habitual study habits. So it's always the same every day, same in. And you just, maybe you just don't have a solid grasp of what your own abilities are. Because a lot of times this is mindset, limits of your knowledge and abilities. Sometimes you may think you're in a rut, but you're actually making progress. Sometimes you get to a point where you know a lot. You just don't know how much you know. Believe it or not, it's a real thing. I know it sounds crazy. All right. So, what are some tips that you can put towards breaking out of a learning rut? Well, number one, you got to set new goals. Because if your old goals, and I've done videos on goals, I've talked to a lot of people about how to set your goals. Most of my clients have already talked with me one-on-one on how to set your goals. We've written them down, we've talked about them, and you know what you're doing. So give it a shot. Try changing your goals. Try experimenting with different studying techniques. I've already mentioned a few. You can change to a new textbook. You can try taking a new class. Try talking to your coach or your teacher about changing up what you do. Practice speaking with native English speakers more often if you can. Find a speaking group or find a coach or a tutor online. Watch movies. Really, watch movies or TV shows. Be careful with that though, because a lot of times the movies and the shows you might watch, they might be a little too specific, and you might watch the what's that? You might watch a medical drama or something, and that's really exciting. But how often do you use medical vocabulary in your day-to-day life? Unless you're a doctor or a nurse, probably not very often. So Be careful with the TV shows. If you want to watch a TV show, get something that's kind of general. That's why Friends is such a popular show for learning English, even though it's like 20 or 30 years old now. I think it's 20 years, 25. I don't know. It's a long one. And getting feedback from your colleagues, from your friends, from your tutors, that's all going to help you along the way. All right. So what about, we already talked about trying a new textbook. Now, what about overcoming your learning plateau? Now, there's a saying, you may have heard it, when the going gets tough, the tough get going. Oh, interview shows are good too. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. Well, I'm going to change it. When the going gets easy, make it more difficult. You might be stuck in a rut because you aren't being challenged enough. I know it sounds crazy, but just because something is hard doesn't mean that it's not worth doing. So give that a shot. I mean, think about that. If something's too easy, that's a good way for it to get boring. So try to mix it up a little bit, make it a little bit more difficult. If you're reading a book, read a more difficult book. If you're reading articles, read more challenging articles. That kind of stuff is going to help you out a lot. So remember, practice your writing and speaking in English. Focus on the specific areas that you are most concerned with improving. Like if you struggle with grammar, focus on grammar. If you struggle with now, most of my clients don't worry about grammar. We worry about business stuff. We worry about conversations. So the best way to fix that is, what is it? That's right, talking, speaking with each other. So really focus on speaking as much as you can. All right, now we're going to move on. We're almost done with this little section here, and we're going to talk and we're going to get into a bonus section. We'll do just a little Q&A. So I hope you've brought some questions tonight. Maintain your motivation. Okay. Motivation. I know I just did a video the other day about how motivation is not enough, but it is still very important to getting out of a rut or getting over a plateau, because that's what's going to set you going to start changing your goals. As I said in my video the other day, when you're trying to be motivated, you need to really, well, what's the word I'm looking for? When you are um when you're only motivated, you're eventually, that motivation is going to die off. So you need something solid to hold you in place, some plan of action to take, and keep taking those actions day in and day out. But it's the motivation that's going to push you over. It's the key to getting started. Tenacity, there's a good vocabulary word. Tenacity, it means the ability to hold on with your teeth, with your fingers, with your hands, even when things are hard. You just keep pushing through. That's tenacity. So you're going to need that in order to keep moving forward. That is what's going to keep you going. And finally, you've got to define your why. Find out what motivates you. What is your reason for wanting to get better with English? Why do you even care about breaking through this plateau or getting out of this rut? Why do you care? If you don't know why, then you might just need to give it up. I know it's a crazy thing, but I think when you think about what you really are, what you really want, you're going to find all that you need to maintain your why. All right. How do we maintain your progress? Once you've broken out of the rut, keep setting goals, keep moving forward. Okay. Keep looking for new materials, new resources to use. Ask your coach, ask a friend. Keep switching up your study techniques. I know for me personally, I get bored. I get bored if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over. So try something new. Try switching things up as much as you can. And of course, if you want to speak English, you've got to speak English. So talk to English speaking people as often and as regularly as possible. All right. So let me wrap this all up for you in a nice little bow. Number one, it's going to take perseverance. You're going to have to work hard. You're going to need to set some fresh goals. I know, Mandy, it's not easy to maintain progress, but that's why you've got to have a solid why. you need to know why you're doing it. Why are you fighting to get better and better and better? If you don't have a good definition there, I don't know what to tell you. Next one, experiment with new study techniques. Yeah, very important. Try new things. Make it spicier. You know, if your food is bland, put in some salt. Or put some hot sauce on it. Hot sauce is always good. I love hot sauce. Maintain your drive and keep pushing yourself forward. And finally, never, ever, ever give up. If that is what you want, keep pushing towards it. Okay. Just because you're in a downtime or a rut or a difficult spot, that's okay. Just keep on pushing forward. All right. And that's really the total sum of my first presentation. I will go into more if anybody wants to know more. Please ask questions. I'm here for you. Just drop a question in the comment. It's a little bit different when we're talking one-on-one. You can speak to me and things like that, but we're stuck on this this platform. So anybody have any questions? No questions so far? All right. Well, listen, let me just say before I jump into my next session, this is my day off. I'm doing this because I love it. But if you want to support me and help me out, you can always buy me a cup of coffee. Hit the, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/allabouting because they put the lish on, they took the lish off the part of it. And I really appreciate that. Thank you for joining me today. What do I think about ChatGPT? Somebody just jumped in with that one. How did you know I was just about to start talking about ChatGPT? Well, ChatGPT is such an interesting tool. Everyone is talking about ChatGPT these days. I mean, everybody. I don't have a slideshow for this one, so I'm just going to kind of talk like it's a conversation, like just the two of us. But I do have some notes. So what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is an AI software program that speaks to you like a human being, almost. It's not quite like a human being, but it can talk with a similar speaking pattern as a human being. So unlike Google, it actually will give you some feedback. You can ask more and more questions. You can ask deeper and deeper questions as you move on. So it's very interesting to use ChatGPT. If you've never used it, you can, it will really surprise you. And matter of fact, why don't we take a minute and well, they are experiencing high demand right now, but let's see if we can use it for just a minute. I'm going to open this up and just a minute, I will share my screen and I will demonstrate just a few of the ways that you can use ChatGPT to improve your English. So anybody have any ideas of how they might use this chat bot to improve their English? Anybody? When I'm talking about this because we just said sometimes you should mix up and change your study patterns and the way that you study. Sometimes it's difficult to meet with people who speak English. So if you don't know anyone who speaks English, you can use the chat bot. You can use ChatGPT. So let me share the screen. Let me see here. Share screen. And let's take a trip over to ChatGPT. Share. Okay, hopefully, all right, because everybody see my screen. Hopefully there yeah, let me move this over so I can see the chat. Anybody have any questions? You just drop your questions in the chat box. And let's talk about how you can use ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT is free to use. They do offer a $20 per month service if you want. Let's see what they get if you upgrade to Plus. They just started offering it in Korea. They started offering it in the US last week. Young says it's really awesome AI solution. A lot of people talk to this every day. I know. I talk to this thing every day too. So the free plan is available when demand is low. There's a standard response speed and regular model update. So they're always updating the model. But ChatGPT Plus, they give you free. It's available even when the high demand and faster response speed, priority access, all that good stuff. So if you want to pay $20 a month, you can do that. So let's take a look at what you can do. Oh my goodness. So excuse me says the reason I mentioned it is because I heard it's threatening news readers' jobs. Oh, well, I'll get into the chat GPT and how it might be threatening jobs. I would love to start a conversation about. So let's hear what people have to say. If you have more to comment on that, I would love to hear it. So, but right now I'm just going to talk about how you can use it with your English. So I'm going to give you several tips. Tip number one, you can use it to practice speaking English by asking it questions or having conversations on various topics. Okay. Basically, you can have a conversation with it just like you would a person. It's going to give you the opportunity to practice your fluency. Now, it's not going to allow you to practice your speaking because it is a text-based language model. So you have to type things in. However, you could use some kind of a voice to text program. I use Word, for example. Sometimes I use Microsoft Word. You can maybe use Google Docs and record your voice saying what you want to say. It'll record it and then you cut it and you paste that in the text box. So you can have a conversation, okay? And then read back their response. Or it can help you with your writing. So let's just take a look at just what you can say. Say, hello, my name is Dennis. I'm doing a live stream on YouTube right now. I'd like, and you can also practice typing and speaking while you type. It's not going to have the right cadence, but that's okay. I'd like to show my audience how you can help them with English studies. Let's see what it says. Hi, Dennis. It's great to hear that you're showcasing the benefits of using AI language models like me for English language learning. I'd be happy to assist with answering any questions or providing information to help you with your demonstration. Just let me know what you need. See, it's so helpful, isn't it? So this is a very interesting little bot. So let's say you want to talk about the weather, okay? You can practice a conversation. I'd like to talk about the weather. Can you correct my grammar and help me sound more natural? Okay. So now this is answering the question. Of course, I'd be happy to. Please provide the text you'd like me to correct. So does somebody said, how about a meal plan for moms? Who said that? Excuse me again. Yeah, you can ask for a meal plan for moms. Absolutely. It'll take away the mom's job too. Not. It will never take away mom's job. Okay, so it's asking what is the text you'd like it to correct. So I'd say, you could say, what is weather like there? Okay, that's really poor grammar. It's going to tell me it doesn't have any idea how the weather is. Okay, but it's going to correct the grammar. However, I can certainly help you improve the grammar and naturalness of your sentence. Here's a corrected version. What's the weather like there? So now the sentence is grammatically correct. So this will help you to practice and improve your grammar. Okay. It'll also, you can also use ChatGPT to help you with your vocabulary. Okay. So you can ask questions about the meaning of words, the usage of English words. If you are learning new words every day, which I encourage you to do by reading articles and things like that, you're going to find words you don't know. I am always suggesting to people that they try new vocabulary words. So let's try something else. I said the word tenacious earlier was a good vocabulary word. I just heard the word tenacious. Did I spell it right? Us. Can you help me understand it? So it will explain what tenacious is an adjective that's used to describe someone or someone who is very persistent, determined, and unwilling to give up. It can be used to describe someone who is holding on to something very tightly, or someone who refuses to let go of their goals or beliefs in the face of difficulty or opposition. Does that sound familiar? For example, you could say she has a tenacious grip on her dreams and never gives up no matter what obstacles she faces. Or he is a tenacious worker who consistently produces high quality results. In general, the word tenacious has a positive connotation and is often used to describe someone who is strong willed and persevering. That is a much better definition than you're going to get in a dictionary, if you ask me. What do you guys think of that definition? Was that a pretty good definition or description of uh, the word tenacious? And do you understand it better? But if you don't, and I always tell you, you should practice your vocabulary by making your own sentences. So, oh, yeah, Mandy, it's much better than Grammarly. Much more useful than Grammarly because it won't just correct your mistakes. It'll tell you why you made the mistakes and how you can avoid them later. I know I'm putting myself out of a job by teaching everybody this, but um, it's very useful, very useful. So yeah, you can use it to correct your vocabulary. You can you can write your own sentence. For example, let's use tenacious again. You can write a sentence like, I was feeling very tenacious um, when I woke up. Is that a good use of the word? Okay. Oh, I'm sorry to see you go, Young. Glad you came in. I enjoy your meeting. I'm surprised you have a meeting so late. Wow, so late. You guys work so late in Asia. All right. So using tenacious to describe a person's state of mind is certainly a good use of the word. Um, so here's an example sentence that uses tenacious in this way. See, now it's giving you an alternative way to write the sentence. After a good night's sleep, I woke up feeling tenacious and ready to take on whatever the day had in store. What a great tool. So that is the second tip that I'm giving you on how to use it. Expanding your vocabulary by using ChatGPT to learn how to what words mean and also how to improve your skills by having it check if you're using the words correctly. Also, it is a great tool for learning idioms and phrasal verbs. I was talking to somebody in the chat earlier yesterday about using idioms and phrasal verbs. This is one of the tools that you can use. If you're not sure how to use a word in a sentence, go ahead and use that. Now, you can improve your grammar with ChatGPT. One of the things that you might use is write your own sentences. You can have ChatGPT explain grammar concepts to you. I've done this for videos. For example, you may hear someone say, um, um, "I don't know. Why don't you, somebody leave a question in the comments? What is a grammar question you just can't figure out? Um, you just don't know. Anybody? Anybody? Something you just can't think of when you're hearing grammar. Like, I mean, I'm drawing a blank right now, but um, uh, let's. I don't understand when and how the to use have been or has been. Okay, this is Can you explain it? All right, so watch. It's gonna start generating an explanation. These are forms of the verb to be in the perfect present tense. Perfect present tense is used to describe an action that started in the past and continues until the present moment, or a past action with present consequences. All right. So for the first person plural, I or we have been studying English. We have been studying English for 3 months. So how long have you been studying English? And do you think this is a good tool? I think it's a great tool. It will break down those grammar concepts for you very well. If you have a problem with writing, if that is one of your issues, this one is an amazing tool, but be careful. Okay. Don't use this to cheat. Use it to check yourself. Okay. This can be a wonderful writing coach. I'm using it with several of my clients to help them with their writing for emails or other things. But the key is it's meant to be used as a help, like an extra coach, not as a way to actually improve, not to actually do the writing for you. If your English is really, really bad and you need a email right now, it will write for you. Watch this. I feel no good. And that's really vague today. I need doctor. Okay. I need note for boss. Watch what it does. It tells you to take care of your health first. And go be. If you need a note for your boss, you could write a short message. I forgot to tell it to write the note. Here's an example. Oh, it's going to write it for us. Dear boss, boss's name. I hope this email message finds you well. I'm writing to inform you that I am feeling unwell today and need to take the day off to see a doctor. I understand that this may cause some inconvenience, and I apologize. I mean, look, this is a perfectly legitimate sounding email. It's concise, it's professional, and it'll communicate what you need to say. So see, it'll help with your writing. Here's another tool that you may find helpful. You might find this helpful with. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. It's really cool, right, Yolanda? So this one is really cool. So I really enjoy reading news articles, and I know that some of you also do as well. However, I get tired of recommending the same old articles all the time. Like everybody's like ingu.com is good, but the articles get kind of boring. And you might want to read something from the regular newspaper, but it's a little bit difficult. If you're reading online, you can take an article from a regular newspaper. Yes, it does, it does recognize Korean too. It recognizes Korean, it recognizes Chinese, it recognizes French, it recognizes a lot of languages. I'm not sure if it recognizes traditional Chinese. I know it recognizes simplified Chinese, but I'm not sure about anything else. Well, the whole demo is great. I'm glad you enjoy it. All right, we're almost done. I'm going to jump in with, we're going to go to questions. So get your questions ready because we're going to jump in with that. Simplify complex text with ChatGPT. Take an article that you might find interesting, or maybe it's a scientific paper, or maybe it's a blog, something that you would like to read about, and ask it to simplify it for your level. And if you tell it the level that you're at, let me find an article really fast. I will try to find an article that I read recently. All right, so I'm going to share this tab here. So this is an article that I read recently called 13 Tips on How to Deliver a Pitch, blah, blah, blah. We're going to scroll through here, copy everything here. I'm not going to, okay. Oh, I lost it. All right, well, we'll just take the first 4. Okay, we're going to scroll up here and boom, control copy. Now we're going to go back to ChatGPT and paste that in here. But first, I'm going to say, please simplify the following article for a, I think you guys are all probably intermediate, an intermediate level English reader. Okay, I'm going to put this in at B1. Okay, the lowest level intermediate. Okay, now I'm going to paste it and press enter and see what it comes up with. Okay, it has all the, so that's the original thing I pasted. Here we go. And as you can see, it is rewriting the article in more simplified terms. Now, if that doesn't surprise you, I don't know what will. So you can take a complicated article and ask the AI to simplify it for you so you can understand it better. Okay. You can also ask it to please give me some key vocabulary to help me understand this article. And you can ask for vocabulary. Pitch, a short presentation. It'll tell you what the words, the key vocabulary to understand this article. You can actually get away with not reading articles from ngoo.com anymore, if that's what you want to do. So I don't know about you, but that is all very exciting stuff. Oh, and yes, that is a free website. It is free, but it's also hard to get on to this website when it's really busy. So, fortunately, I live in Asia, and I know most of you live in Asia. So if you're logged on during the daytime, you're more likely to get access to the platform than if you're living in, say, the Western, like in the United States or South America or Europe, because they're all sleeping when we're awake and being busy. So, so it works best in the daytime. Although, as you can see, here it is almost midnight in Korea, and it was really quick, very, very quick. So, okay. Now, that is basically all the time that I have for today. Who has, Lisa says, I wish I knew this earlier. Well, you know it now. And actually, you know it pretty early because this has only been around since November 30th of last year. So what's that, 2.5 months? It's one of the fastest growing websites I think it's the fastest growing website in history. Microsoft is a big buyer, big supporter, investor. They're incorporating the AI into their Bing search engine. And this introduction of this program has really launched a, well, an AI war with a lot of people across the world. So using this ChatGPT, you can actually help yourself learn English in a different way. So it changes everything. It might put me out of a job. No, I hope not. One thing it has that I do not have, wait, I was going to say one thing it has that I don't have is personality, but reverse that. One thing it doesn't have that I do have is personality and a sense of humor. All right. Well, that is all that I prepared for today. However, I am prepared to answer questions or have a conversation. So I'm just going to scroll up through the chat and see if I missed anything. And all right, Julie says howdy. And all right. All right. I think I mentioned all of these. Okay. Oh, yeah. One thing you said, you mentioned it because you heard it's threatening news readers' jobs. Okay. That is a big concern. Now, a lot of controversy has surrounded this ChatGPT and AI in general because it's being used to create art, it's being used to write books. Students in university are using it to write essays, and in high school as well, too, I think. They've just 2 days ago, I saw an article that It had passed the medical exam for some state in the U.S. It passed the Wharton School of Business MBA. Well, not the entire exam, but it passed one of the exams that they offer at Wharton School of Business. So it can do a lot of things that a person can't do. So there is some concern that AI, maybe not ChatGPT in its current state, but AI will take away people's jobs. To which I say, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I wouldn't worry because I know that everyone watching this show is already being proactive and they're going to learn everything they can about this stuff and use the AI to their benefit. Because the people who learn how to use this stuff now will learn how to work with it in the future, because AI is just a tool. AI is not intelligent, even though it's artificial intelligence is in the title. It's not actually intelligent. Mandy, you're absolutely right. ChatGPT cannot speak so far. However, I have seen some people make some mods that they'll modify Siri to use ChatGPT and actually so that Siri will speak whatever the input is from ChatGPT. That's an interesting thing if you use Apple. I don't know anything about that. So, but I don't have any websites off the top of my head, but I know there are websites that will create realistic sounding voices in different languages that will allow you to copy whatever it is that ChatGPT says or types. You can paste it into the website and then click whatever language you want it to say, and it will speak that language. So there are websites that do that. I will try to find one, and I'll post it in the comments later on. So, yeah, there's a lot. Siri is emotionless. Well, she's heartless. I know she's absolutely heartless. Siri, but of course, ChatGPT is emotionless too. Yeah, I don't know about you, but there's a lot of things that I see that are coming out so quickly with AI. I've seen videos that are being produced where they're creating an entire fake person out of thin air, never existed, that has their own voice, their own face. You can tell it what to say. It looks like it's speaking. It has the ability to create emotions, not real emotions, but it looks like it's having emotions. And so, excuse me, says it's going to take away the newsreaders' jobs. It might, those poor newsreaders. The only people who have jobs will be people who have opinions, which is kind of the way it is now anyway. Most people they either read the news or they tell you their opinion about the news. All right. So I want to say right now, this has been a pleasure. I'm just looking at the time. It's getting up on 45 minutes, and it has been a real pleasure. Does anybody have any more questions before I move on? Excuse me, says, it's nice to see all of the people here. It helps remind me of a lot of different ways to say thank y'all. That's true. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you very much for joining me and joining together. I really appreciate you coming in to see me today. This was our very first live. Do me a big favor if you get a chance. Share this with your friends. Share my other videos with your friends. I am hoping that this recorded so that I'll be able to repost it later. Because if it didn't record, oh no, we'll be in big trouble. But if it didn't, well, you guys got an exclusive show that no one else will ever see again. So unless anyone has anything else I have to say, I am very honored and pleased to see everybody join me, and I will see you next time. I am going to do this. Yeah, before I say that, I am trying to do this show every Saturday. So yeah, tell your friends, and hopefully we'll have make it a little bit smoother for next Saturday. Thanks very much, and I will see you next time.